Hello everybody, welcome back to the Cruiser 700 channel. Today we're going to do a little Power Director tutorial number 2. If you haven't seen the first one yet, it's called Basics of Power Director Editing. Go check it out and we'll move on from here. So in the first video we covered basic things like importing, how to cut the video, how to separate the video from the audio, and those are very powerful tools. Those are real basic, so we'll move on a little bit today and we're going to talk about some of the settings that we use in Power Director. Not all of them, just the main ones that really I've found to matter. And then we're going to look at some picture-in-picture topics. Okay, so here, settings, general, you got, a lot of these are very self-explanatory. Power Director does a very good job at that with the way they lay things out and the way they describe the different settings. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory. These ones I use, especially the timeline frame rate. Sometimes you will import a video and it will tell you that your video you imported doesn't match the timeline frame rate that you have set in your settings, and that's where you change it right here. So you can change it to any one of those depending on what frames per second your video was shot in. You can change that here so it matches. So audio channels, you can stereo, you could do 5.1 surround. The shadow file is supposed to help the speed of the HD video processing. These are all default settings for the most part. Maximum undo levels, 50 is a good number. It's not bad to have maybe a few more if you're really new at this, because it's very powerful to just hit the undo button a bunch of times and get you right back to where you were before you started experimenting with something or trying something, so you don't have to start all over. Capture's really cool. It's over here. You can do actually what I'm doing right now, which is capture your screen with your audio as a voiceover. And so there's a bunch of settings here, but all of them are pretty self-explanatory. Confirmation, always prompt. This is just like things that it'll tell you, like, hey, warn you about, like, hey. So most of these are, again, in pretty self-explanatory. Director zone, you can auto sign into director zone each time you sign in. That's could be good for some people. Director zone has some pretty good things on it. Default transition behavior, default workspace, timeline, storyboard. I like timeline, which is what you currently see down here. But you can change to storyboard if you find that you like that mode better. Yeah, all these up here, these little checkboxes, are pretty self-explanatory. We'll get into some of this stuff further on, but for now you can leave these default settings just the way they are. None of those are very important. Now the durations, these are kind of important because it's telling you image files, title, transitions, effect, magic music, subtitle. When you enter any one of these things into the timeline, it'll automatically give it this duration. Okay, now why is this powerful? Well, if you're making a slideshow of a bunch of different photos, okay, every time you enter an image file, it's going to set the duration to 5 seconds. Well, maybe you put 30 pictures in there and then you realized, I don't want each one to be 5, I want each one to be 10. Well, then you got to go and you got to change each one to 10-second duration, where if you think about that up front, like, how long do I want my video to be, how many photos approximately am I going to have, then you can come in here and set this, and then each time you drag a picture in there, it'll automatically set it to that duration. Same with transitions, titles, effects, subtitles. So, that's kind of what this does and what you would look for when you would need to use it. So, keyboard hotkeys, you can customize keyboard hotkeys. There's a whole bunch of them. This is another important area. And the default locations, you got your import folder and your export folder. And this is telling PowerDirector, when you say I want to import something, it'll go directly to this location first. Okay? So if you have a certain folder or a certain area on your computer where you keep all your videos all the time, then you can set this accordingly, and you just hit browse and you can find your location, set it, and then hit OK, and it'll be in there. Then export folders, when you produce your video, you can set this folder location so that when it's done producing the video, it'll save it in that location. So you'll always know where you can find it. So for me, I have sort of two different locations where I put video that's not edited, and then where I put video that is edited. So I have those locations set like that. And in this case, my export folder, I have it go to YouTube videos, and then that way when it first pulls up in the produce folder, the path will be this, and then all I got to do is hit browse and go one step further and click the folder that I made, the new folder. So that's how I have it set like I do here. These are cool snapshots. Let me move this over here a little bit. Snapshot file name, 2D, 3D. So you have this little camera button right here, and this is actually how I make my thumbnails for videos that I upload for YouTube. I'll go to a part of the video, I'll move the slider on the video till I get to a point in the picture that I want to use for my thumbnail, and then all you do is hit this little camera button, and it'll bring up a box, and it'll have this name in it, snapshot.jpg. It'll always want to name it snapshot, and if you already have one in there named snapshot, it'll name it snapshot parentheses 0 parentheses 1 parentheses 2. So this is the file name that you want to give to your snapshots as a default. So when you hit snapshot, it'll name the file snapshot, but then you can change it right then and there. So it's just kind of you can name it thumbnail, you can name it whatever you'd like for whatever you find to work for yourself. And snapshot destination file, you can have it go to clipboard or directly to your wallpaper. Not sure why you'd want to set it that way, but I guess it could be useful in some cases. So display, these can help with computer speed as you're editing. If you have a slower computer, or maybe you don't have a great video card, you can change the resolution that the preview over here in this window plays back at, so that maybe it won't put such a drag on your computer. And then preview mode, real-time preview, non-real-time preview, snap to reference lines. There's behind the scenes here, you'll notice if you're changing the size of your picture, or if you're moving pictures around, like we'll see in a few minutes, there's little lines that it'll automatically just sort of go to by itself. You can move it freely around the screen, but then when you move real slow and you get close to a reference line, it'll snap to it, like it'll attract to it. And it's really nice because the reference lines are, there's one in the center vertically, there's one in the center horizontally, so you can kind of easily find the center and things. Now TV Safe Zone will show you on your screen here where your video might be cut off. If you have a real widescreen video and you're trying to make it into a regular standard video, that can come in handy. TV safe zone. Grid lines, you can put grid lines up if you'd like. It's kind of like working on graph paper a little bit. Dual preview off, standard 2D preview. I don't use 3D, so. Hardware acceleration, you can use these things in PowerDirector 15 to accelerate how fast your video can render, and it may not take as long. So you got these to speed up video effect preview / render, because sometimes video effects here in your timeline don't play back very quickly and smoothly in the preview mode all the time. Sometimes you gotta mess with it a little bit to get it to preview right. So OpenCL technology can help with that. Project. See, you can, those sample clips that come up in the middle, the beginning of the video, if you uncheck this box, then those won't automatically import. So that's actually a good thing to uncheck if you don't like to use those or you're tired of deleting them all the time. Autosave project every so many minutes is a good thing. I have mine set to 10 minutes. You can set yours to whatever you like. Reduce video noise. Most of these I don't mess with. Improvement program, CyberLink Cloud. So it's just kind of quickly going through the settings and pointing out things that are I've found to be useful and good. In this video we're going to show how to do picture-in-picture, which is actually very simple once you see how it's done. So right now I have a video in my timeline, which is going to be my main video. So I put that in number 1. And then if I want to do picture-in-picture, then I can take a second video and I can drag it down to timeline number 2. So I got timeline 1 with video and audio, timeline 2 with video and audio. I don't have any effects, so this timeline thing here is blank. Now, you see that it came up like this. Okay, so if I want the video to be that big, you see how the white dots are not touching the top of the frame. So if I move up slowly, you can see that it just snapped there. And that's what those reference lines were that we were talking about. So the same goes for like right here in the center, it kind of wants to snap. And then over here on the edge, it wants to snap. So you can see it. You can see it snapping. So, if you want your picture-in-picture to be that big, then you're good. This picture will play over top of this video until this video runs out, and then this background will go blank, and all you'll see is this video. So I don't like my picture-in-pictures to be that big. I kind of like them to be smaller most of the time. So just kind of do that. And then what you'll see is you see that this video and audio is playing. This video and audio is playing as well. So if I shut the audio off of this video, you'll be able to hear the audio in this one. It's my dog snoring. So then we could turn the audio back on, and you'll have both audios playing at the same time. But you can, if you just want a picture, you don't want the audio, then you can disable the audio that way. So that's kind of neat. And then if you want, you can, if you want these two videos to line up, you can grab it right at the end, pull it, and see this has snap too. See where it's red, and then it just sort of pulls itself right in there. That means those two videos are lined up exactly, frame for frame. So then you can let go, and then these videos will end at the same exact time. So let's see. They ended at the same exact time. So you can see our picture-in-picture works out pretty well there. And that's how you do picture-in-picture. It's that simple. You can, I mean, you could even drag this down to the third spot. You could have multiple pictures in pictures. You could drag this up here. Drag it over here. And now you got two PiP objects. You can highlight this video, go to where it has the little video clip with the arrows, drag it down, turn blue so you know they're all three lined up perfectly, automatically trims it for you, and now all three of these videos will play over top of each other. So you got a main video and you got two picture-in-pictures. They all three have video playing and they all three have audio playing. So it's kind of neat how it works. So that's how you do picture-in-picture. It's that simple. You can make them whatever size you want. If you want to grab one of the videos individually, you can click in the preview window. Although sometimes it acts funny. But you can also click down here in the timeline, and it'll highlight which picture-in-picture this corresponds to. So you could also do the same thing with your main video. You can change the size of it. So you can put that up there. And if you wanted this to be, say, like the same size, you can see it'll snap right to it so that they'll be perfectly even. You can also rotate them, which I don't want to do. And move it up, it snaps. So you can see they're the same size, nice and even. And then sometimes what you have to do if you want things to be perfectly lined up is you have to sort of sacrifice it just a little bit. What'll happen is you see how this video and this video aren't quite lined up at the bottom. Well, that kind of stuff drives me crazy when I'm making a video. So what you do is you make the center one overlap the two edge ones, and then you take the edge one and just enlarge it just a small amount, and then what you'll see is that they'll line up and they'll just be overlapped just a little bit, but they're lined up perfect, so it looks good. So then you can play it like that. Pretty neat, huh? Picture-in-picture, PiP. So, in the next video, we'll get into some of these, how to add effects. You have different titles that we can use, transitions, audio mixing, a voiceover recording room, chapter room, and subtitle room. And in the next video, we'll go over some of these and how they're used, and see if we can't make editors out of you guys. Okay, so look forward to the next video. If you have any suggestions of things you've been wondering about, questions you have on how to do something, uh, leave me a comment, and I will gladly get back to you. And if it's something that I haven't covered yet, then I'll make sure that I do a video on it. So, okay. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.